As I explored the walkways of the Denver Convention Center, I stumbled across a small game company called Serenity Forge, and the owner was kind enough to speak to me.
My name is Z, and I am the founder and executive producer at Serenity Forge. Serenity Forge started back, honestly, when I was still in high school. I got a bunch of friends together and just kind of started making games. But then throughout the years, just kept on working on it. When I was 18 years old, I was diagnosed with a severe illness that ended up causing me to be hospitalized for about 2 years. And during that time, it was actually a really difficult time period. And I ended up playing a bunch of different games like League of Legends and World of Warcraft, where these games were not meant to help me, but they ended up saving my life. So once I started recovering, I looked back at it and was like, okay, these games, weren't supposed to help me, but they did. What if I start making video games with the intention to help other people? What kind of power am I going to be able to unlock there? And that's when I started Serenity Forge as a real business.
With talents like this, Z and his company could really go anywhere, but they chose Colorado. I asked why.
Honestly, for the longest time, there weren't any, because it's a really small industry here. There's not a lot of game devs. And for the longest time, we wanted to move to San Francisco and chase the Silicon Valley dream. But over the years, we realized that Colorado actually brings a very unique culture to the game industry. People here are very supportive. The communities here are always there for each other. And you never see that in a Hollywood setting or in a New York setting or something like that. So we thought to ourselves, instead of chasing the Silicon Valley dream, instead of chasing an industry somewhere else, what if we bring the industry to us? And that's why we decided to stay here and just kept on building it here. So we have a couple new games coming out this year, one of which is Once Upon a Coma, which is a psychological narrative adventure game. The game is about a boy named Pete who wakes up from a coma to find out that all of the parents went missing. So you got to figure out what's going on. The game addresses a lot of issues that we face nowadays in society, like depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. And on top of that, we have another game coming out later this year called Half Past Fate. The game is a romantic comedy game that is all about inclusion and the representation of diverse sets of people from all walks of life. And that game will be coming out before the year is over. As a company, we're always striving to create games that really change the way people think about our world, games that are emotionally impactful in some way. So I know it's hard to always decide if we're going to make a bigger game or a smaller game on one platform or another, but the thing that we can always guarantee is that we want to make games that are more from the bottom of our heart, games that that embody messages that we want to spread to other people. One of the criteria for us in deciding what kind of game to work on is always, if the opportunity arises that this game becomes the next best thing, that everyone in the world overnight is now playing this game, what kind of an impact do we have on society? And if that impact is something that we are comfortable with, we're happy with, and we want to have in the world, and that's how we embark on a project. We work with a lot of hospitals and museums and libraries and educational institutions to kind of create educational experiences, games that, for terminally ill children, for example, installed in hospitals. So yeah, I wouldn't really call it a charitable mission since it is work that we are paid for since we are a development studio. But at the same time, it is out of certainly a love for charitable work, because ultimately you definitely make a lot more money doing other stuff with the same skill set than making video games. So that's something that really embodies our culture, and we just want to make games to kind of better shape people's lives. I'm a first-generation immigrant coming to America, and both my parents are here as well. My father is blind, and my mother doesn't speak English. So, growing up here in America, it was not easy, especially for them to move here and, take care of me, growing up here in Boulder. When I graduated college, I looked at my life, and I realized that, no matter what I do in life, I speak English and I can see. And this is already better than anything my parents ever had coming here with essentially nothing in their pocket. I know that no matter how much I fail, I'm still going to have an easier life than they did. So with that in mind, at the very least, if Serenity Forge doesn't turn out well, I can at least go work at fast food and, be able to at least afford some form of food and living and a roof over my head. So with that, I realized that I am in no danger of failure, and absolute failure is 100% okay to me. So I was okay to give it a shot.
Denver Pop Culture Con holds a special meaning for everybody. A little bit different for him or a little bit different for her, but at the end of the day, a small business, a small development company like Serenity Forge can benefit greatly